Hi, everyone. Welcome to A New View. I'm Shira, and I'm here with Kim, Lee, and Juji. We are four friends, speakers, and professionals from different cultures, backgrounds, and age groups coming together to offer healing and inspiration. Someone recently said the word blind spot, like as it related to cars and stuff, and I realized this would make for a really good episode. I've certainly uncovered a lot of them in my own life. And what do you guys think?
Well, I definitely realized that I had two massive blind spots that I've worked through, thank God. Because if I didn't, my life would be very different today. One of them was with my skin disease, psoriasis, that I've had since I was 19. It's a chronic disease, so it's very like roller coaster. My skin could be clear one day, it could have spots inflamed the next day. And I've always gone about this, and my, opinion towards it, my view of it was always hating on my skin. It was always resisting it, trying everything I could do to get rid of it. And that definitely had a really positive impact of my life through my 20s and 30s, because it taught me how to eat healthy food. It taught me to practice self-care. So in that aspect, it was great. But the blind spot that I didn't realize I had until I really gave this some thought was, because I see it today, I didn't see it back then. I was in such resistance mode with this. When you look at something on your skin or on your body in general, it could be weight, it could be a skin issue, whatever it is. I think our natural tendency is to resist it. You don't want it. It makes you feel unattractive. It makes you feel less than. You just want to get rid of it. You want to just like do everything you can in your power to get rid of it. And that was my view for so long. What can I do to get this to go away? So I would watch what I ate. And then that became unhealthy, like an unhealthy view. I would monitor everything I would put in my mouth. I would be so strict with my food. For years I was, and it really did help my skin become less inflamed. But the real blind spot I realized was through paying such close attention and my focus only being on like, what else can I do? What else can I do? What other self-care practices can I try? How else can I reduce my stress? I can do this, that. It became a full-time job trying to get rid of this skin issue. And so all of my attention and focus and energy going into this thing I didn't want, the blind spot was, if I could just let go of such the tight grip that I had on trying so hard to get rid of this thing. Really, we could apply this to like everything in our lives, right? We've done an episode about letting go.
Yeah.
But honestly, what brought me to see that blind spot of like, oh, I just need to let go. Not that that's so easy, but what brought me to recognize that the blind spot was like the resistance, living in the resistance full time, honestly, was exhaustion. I was exhausted. And this wasn't like years ago. This was like more recently. I'd say a good year and a half ago. I'd say, when I moved down here to North Carolina, I really wanted to just live like an easier, more natural flowing life. I just wanted to just be and just, enjoy my life more. And enjoying my life more really meant not putting so much energy into like every little thing I did to take care of myself. So today I definitely have let go more. I'll never fully let go because I care about my skin. I care about my health. I'll always, veer towards the healthier options in life and taking care of myself in different ways. But the blind spot was living in the resistance for years. I'm talking like 20 years I lived in that I was blind.
Right.
So that was just looking back now, I'm like, wow. When I think of that video from our Inspiring Women episode we did, and that video where Chris Carr, my choice, said, like, I was so busy, like looking for my joy that I wasn't realizing I was surrounded by it. It was all around me. That's exactly what I was doing all those years. the skin condition had complete power over me. I gave it all my power. And I was living in this resistance mode that was completely lack of joy. So in the letting go, you know, I really care less nowadays. Like if I have a spot here and there on my skin, or like my elbows feel rough, okay. Like, I'm not saying I don't care, but I can live with that, because I'd rather focus on feeling joy than trying to get rid of this thing that, and I'm more happy. I'm more happy being aware of it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And you know,
Well,
speaking of joy, which is also, I think for most of us, our ultimate goal is just to feel joy and satisfaction every day, be happy with our surroundings and people that are around us, our relationships. I kind of equate the blind spots to anything in our life and at any stage in our life that we are not aware of yet. You know, think about becoming aware that you've been gaslighted. You know, there was a blind spot. We didn't see it. We literally did not see it until we did. And I totally get what you said, Kim, about, I can relate with the trying so hard to do everything and anything in your power to try to get rid of your psoriasis, because I remember when I was diagnosed with cancer at age 32, it freaked me out and I went extreme. I, you know, started exercising all the time. I cut everything out of my diet besides probably, you know, a couple of things. I mean, I went raw. I cut the cheese, the dairy, the sugar, the processed food. There was nothing in a package ever that went in my mouth. And this was first for a few months, you know, I experimented. And every time I got to a new stage, realizing, you know, I had all these blind spots on my journey with my health, where I would turn around and be like, it's not just about that. It's not just about the food. It's not the raw food that's going to help me. It's not being vegan. It's not being vegetarian, you know, and I'm in such a much better nutritional place now where I'm like, I'm happy. I'm happy with what I eat and my choices. I am not a vegetarian. I like my meat, but I buy and eat very, very clean food, and it's not processed and it's whole for the most part. I still go out and indulge from time to time, but that was a big blind spot for me. And another huge one was coming to realize my spirituality, that I even had any, you know, like what was spirituality? And when I started with my spiritual practice, I now can look back and say, wow, what a blind spot that was for me. I didn't know that we can do things like meditation or breath work or talking to people or being vulnerable or all of these things that can help us emotionally and mentally. Yeah, so blind spots, huge.
Yeah, I mean, I've had such massive epiphanies about my blind spots, and like you both said, like things that we carried around and did and perceived for so long, like decades, that all of a sudden something happens that makes you go, oh my God, how did I not see that? But it's so beautiful at the same time. So you could either like beat yourself up for not knowing, or go, oh my God, I'm going to take this new knowledge and this new awareness and carve a new path. Because for me, it was people pleasing. And I don't think I realized what a people pleaser I was. But the other thing about blind spots is that if something is a pattern in your life, and, you know, for the younger people, it could be a year or two, whatever. For people like me, it was like tens of years. It was like 30 years. I finally realized what a people pleaser I was. And it infiltrates like so many areas of your life, the people pleasing. And just so we're very clear, you know, whoever's watching this, it's not like, oh, I want to please people. No, that's not what it is. It's, I want people to have a perception of me, so I will mold myself and not address my own needs and not speak up and just lose myself. That's what it is. I basically lost myself. And it's like it's a torturous thing. Like it ekes away at your self-esteem, just like chink by chink by chink, you know, it's just like, until you're just like, and then for me, you know, you could look at it as a massive epiphany, or you could look at it as a decay over time of my self-esteem and who I am as a person. What are my preferences? What do I want? Why do I keep going along with other people's decisions that are affecting me and not speaking up? Like all of it. And it infiltrated so many areas of my life, my marriage, my finances, I'm sure on some level, my relationship with my children, because they sense things, you know, when they sense that you're not speaking up for something that's right for you, and maybe even for other people, but certainly for you, meaning for me, that's their role model. And so it's really interesting to, and I'm so grateful that I have had the epiphanies, not just at my own hand, but other people who have come to me, you know, and said certain things or made me realize certain things. You have to be open to it, though. If you have patterns in your life of things that are not working, you literally have to just start an inquisition. You have to go, what is going on here?
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
You said something that really resonated with me, and I'm seeing it so much. But when you were talking about the blind spots, this was in preparation for this episode, you had said, you know, when people are complaining, like have a pattern of complaining about the same thing over and over, usually it's a blind spot because they're complaining about the same thing over and over. They don't see it. Right. They do not see it. And I see that so much now. Yeah. I see how I did that in the past, and I see other people in my life doing that. And I'm just like, oh, maybe this is a chance for me to say, did you ever think about maybe taking some action and doing something about that so you don't need to complain about it anymore?
Well, it's the cool part about knowing about blind spots and becoming more aware, because now we can ask ourselves, you know, is there, what else can I uncover? What else can I work on? What else is there that I'm missing? But we're now, you know, intentionally thinking about it. And I think that's when we have more and more breakthroughs and the most growth.
Well, I just have to share a little tidbit with you, and that is that I was talking to somebody who shall remain nameless, and they were complaining about something that they complain about all the time. And I said, it must be so frustrating to have that frustration constantly all the time. And the person said, yeah, but that's how I get attention. And I was like, holy shit.
Wow.
Can't believe how self-aware you are, and you keep doing the other crap. And B, thank you for telling me that so I don't have to get like sucked into the bullshit.
But at least I knew to say that. I mean, it's not a good place to be, but I think most people would never admit that.
I don't think most people are that self-aware that they're doing it for attention, if they are doing it for attention.
Right.
Yeah, it's really weird. This particular person has like little glimmers of like self-awareness, but then they just go back to the way they were. So it's just like, yeah, I don't need to be a part of that. So now if they complain about it, I just go, and then I change the subject. It's great.
I think probably the blind spot that really hit me upside the head, like the overarching theme of the blind spot is it's not everybody else's fault, you know, because I pointed outwards and the world was unfair and, you know, everything was everybody else's fault. And I think that when I talk about like claiming responsibility for things, it comes off as like self-blame. But when you realize that you can own things and that it isn't everybody else's fault, that's actually super liberating.
Totally.
Because the idea that it's everybody else's fault and the world is unfair, that gives all of your, like Kim said, all of your power away to everybody else. And I think that we also believe that the thing that's right in front of us that's wrong is what we're supposed to be dealing with, right? Like, for example, a skin disease is like what we're supposed to be, like that is the problem at hand. But like what I've noticed is that when I uncover a blind spot, it usually has to do with something very, very different than what I think is right in front of me.
Yeah.
Like, I remember like just not understanding like why my first business wasn't working. And that's what I was trying to work on because it was right in front of me. And then it hit me upside the head like, no, dum-dum, it's your relationship with your father.
Mm.
Those two things don't seem like they're related.
Ugh.
But everything in our life is a web and it's completely interrelated. So whatever you think that you're trying to fix that's right in front of you, the blind spot is, no, it's this and it's this and it's this and it's a compounded, of course nothing is working. You haven't spoken to somebody in your family in 5 years. Of course it's, you know, the fact that your relationship with your mother is crumbling over this. Of course, it's the fact that your marriage is unstable. It was just like everything all at once suddenly became so clear to me. And all of a sudden, my business was the last thing on my mind. It was like, oh my God, I can't continue on as like a human being in this world, having this kind of like crumble, like there's no infrastructure, there's no support system, there's no love, there's no connection, there's no nothing.
It's
Usually, I love that because what I learned throughout the years about my skin is that it has nothing to do with food. Yes, food is helpful, of course, because it's medicine, but it was all emotional. Most of it was emotional work I had to do. Like the letting go of caring so much had to do with everything you guys just said. Like emotionally, I was people pleasing. I wasn't living in my truth. I wasn't accepting things. I wasn't communicating with people. I wasn't expressing myself. I mean, all the things. And there was like a lot of anger built up inside of me. And I believe that that was coming out of my skin. Like it was toxic and toxins were building up from all the emotions and the things I wasn't emotionally dealing with and feeling. And it was all showing me, you got to deal with this, you know?
but it also shows you how connected the mind and the body are, you know, you have to just go back to the source, right? And the source usually is, I have no inner peace. I don't have peace within myself. And so then you have to start asking yourself, why am I at war with myself? And that's when all the answers come, when you ask the questions and really want to know. One of the things that I find very interesting about blind spots is that when I look back and super duper honest with myself, I realized that I was trying to, that my codependency of trying to point out other people's blind spots to them was like, that was my job. Like, no, you see, you're not in it because what you really need to do is read this thing and eat this thing. And like, when you do that, it's so much easier to do that than to put a mirror to your face and go, why is my life not working? I don't like, that's hard. That's it's much easier to blame other people and tell other people what's wrong with them. And it's just so fucking clear to me now. It's the clarity is amazing. But the hard part for me as a mom is that I notice that I sometimes, and now I'm like, now I just shut the hell up. But I could even see how I want to be like, no, that's happening to you because I just want to tell you why. No, just show them by being, show them by doing. It's just, it's
Yeah.
amazing how we human beings, and part of it comes from love, because as a parent, you don't want your child to suffer and struggle. But it's like, but they have to.
Yeah,
They have to.
Yeah, exactly. You know, people have to do their own journey. People have to go through their own, you know, stuff. And as much as we say and do, it's like we gotta let go. We gotta let go sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
I also really love, Chira, what you said about the mind-body connection, because I feel like that is huge, huge. And I would love to do an episode one day on quantum physics, because I believe that there are many ways that, you know, have been proven and studied, and they continue to be studied, of how we can actually eliminate our anxiety and our stress and our illnesses with the mind and with doing certain things. And it's phenomenal. And I'm so into this, just looking into all these things and reading certain things and following certain people that have these methods that they swear by, that will, you know, get rid of your high cholesterol and high blood pressure and cancer and psoriasis, whatever it is, you know. And it's just, we need to dig a little deeper sometimes, and be willing to do the work. But
Yeah,
it's out there.
minds are very powerful, very, very powerful.
Very.
You know, it's amazing. Every single blind spot you guys pointed out about yourselves, each one was so different. And I mean, I know you, so I can see how much seeing those blind spots have changed your life. But even just hearing about it, I'm like, wow, they've really changed our lives. So if anything, I want to encourage the people listening to just be open to asking, what would my blind spots be? What could
Yeah.
those be? And just take a peek behind the curtain and see what comes up.
Yeah, and it takes time also, and there are like things you can read, I guess, Lee, what you were talking about, but like when you start to really inquire, things will show up for you. I'm telling you, the mind is so powerful. When you shut it down, like Kim, you were talking about resistance, like that will be your truth. And then when you open up and go, why is this happening? Even if it takes a while, the answers will come. They just will. And you will be blind no more.
Blind no more. I like that. That's like the Lord in the room, Shira. You'll be blind.
Ah, well, my sweethearts, I think this is a great place to wrap. If you've enjoyed our conversation, please subscribe to our channel and be sure to let us know if you have any topic requests or questions by commenting below. We will see you soon. Thank you for watching, and we love you.